Cut page basics, editing workflow for beginners in Davinci Resolve. We're going to need to create a project. I'm going to do this in a project library. I'll do this because I've got to create some work later in the week. So I'm going to create that. Locations, we'll have it in this folder here. There's the project library. I need to create a project, but I can show you how to import some media. So here, new project, create. Once that's done, you normally hit the cut page to actually configure this because we're inside the project. If we click the cog next to where the house is, find my mouse pointer. So within here, there's all the settings for the project. So we're doing it in HD, we're doing it in 4K, how many frames per second. I know it was shot in 25, or it should have been. It's going to be in 4K, but I'm going to leave it in HD because I used to do this in Final Cut and then other programs as well. Because it's all 4K footage, do it in a HD timeline and actually then render it out as 4K if you're doing it in 4K. Generally, the defaults work best. I'm going to save that. Now we're ready to bring in some media. So if we make sure we're in the right location, so we want to be media pool, click the file download or import. I'm going to bring in photos, but before I do that, let me create a bin. I believe I create bin and put photos. If I spell it correctly, photos. If I open that bin and then bring in all my photos. Yep, that worked. It is confidently. So now I can do new bin. Sorry, I'm right clicking new bin. So in this case, it's we'll go video. I was going to break it down into food clips and stuff like that, but I don't believe I've separated them. But again, you can make life easier. So if you knew where all your, so in this case, I'm doing a restaurant. So if you had overall restaurant clips, kitchen clips, front of house clips. So these are all videos. So I'm going to select all of them. So now it's put it in those two bins. Otherwise, it would have just been one mass of photos and videos. And if I had audio as well, just audio. Here we can at least have some kind of organization. I will show you when we're going further in this video where I imported video clips through the media page. When I was pressing the import, I noticed there's a folder. I believe I can actually bring in folders. The other option, if I right click, I can also import there or Control or Command I. Now we've got our clips and let's go and review them. You can see from my screen settings, mine might be different from yours. Now, if you want to reset yours to the default, particularly if you're learning, what you can do is you go to Workspace. If you just go to Reset UI Layout, that was always a thing I quite like in the Adobe products. That would reset it to the default. That makes sense if somebody's going, yeah, what you want to do is go to the left and turn that on. You know, I haven't got that. So if you reset it to the default, then if somebody's telling you how to do something or you're trying to follow some instructions. Now we've got some clips, we can view them in different ways. So if we move to the top, we have the metadata view, or what I call a card view. If I click that, it gives me a card view of the clips. This one we know, thumbnail view, which is generally going to be between this one, and we've also got strip view. Puts all your clips as one, which is useful when you're scanning through them. And the other one we've got is list view, probably the least. We just get a list of the videos. If you use the previous page like media input and then put relevant flags and tags in there, this would probably be of use. But I'm just going to keep it on the thumbnails. Now what we can do is, as you see, I can actually scan through or brush through the clips. If I just zoom in a bit, you'll see as I move my mouse, I'm just brushing through or scanning through the clips. I can do this continuously. If I click one, then it'll come up in the viewer, and I can still do it on that one, but I won't be able to move across all of them like this without deselecting. So as I'm moving like that, I can quite quickly scan through that if I wanted to. If I want to see what they look like, we'll come to the monitor. Now onto the monitor side, we have the source clip, which is going to be one of these. This is the source clip. And now as I brush through or scrub through, I can see the content of that clip. You can also see if there's audio attached, the audio meters. I will lower this, hopefully I'm not blowing your ears out. The next display is the source tape. So this in effect is putting all dynamically, not physically, putting all the clips together, so I can just brush through all of them or scrub through all of the clips very quickly. Particularly useful, yeah, again, you can do it with a mouse, but if you've got one of the speed editors or a jog wheel, literally you can spin through all your clips. If you've got 2 or 3, don't need it. If you've got loads, those jog wheels or the speed editors are really useful. Good time saver. I'll leave links to them in the comments or description below. The other option we have is the timeline, and as that says, it's the timeline. So it's what's down there would be in the monitor. At the moment, we've put no clips in yet. Yeah, so the next two, we have multi-source on this one, and on here we got replay controls, particularly useful if you're doing live editing to tape, or in this case the disc. So you can set a point of interest in a video and do multiple replays, way above my pay grade for this video. We'll cover that in a separate video. Now the multi-source is what it says. It's multi-source, multiple cameras. So if you're in a situation where you filmed in the kitchen, so you've got a cooking area, a preparation food area, final food serving on the plate area, and maybe the restaurant scene, you can cut between them. And this would probably be in, I've got shorts here, if I had all the right lengths, and that this would be brilliant for social media, because you could show it moving all through all the different processes very quickly. So, but I'll show you how that is played. If I play that, you'll see, you can see all the different shots. You can then select which camera you want, and then it would drop each of those clips at that moment to your timeline. But we'll cover that in more detail in a different video when I've got more resources or more film. If you've got multiple, you've got the source view. So if you click source view again, we did touch on this earlier. What that does is stitch all these together. If I press the speed one, press play, and let's press fast review, you'll see it's going quickly through that clip relative to the size of the clip. So if it's a short clip, it will speed it up, but not that much. If it's a longer clip, it would speed it up considerably, so you can get through a whole chunk of clips quicker. It's based on what's in the bin. So if you've got 10, here you are, no hands. So if you've got 10 clips in the bin, it will move through those 10 clips, or if you've got 100, those 100. So sometimes managing your bins will make this kind of workflow easier. But that's one option to actually speed through and preview your content. Individual clips, if we go onto the far right, you can see we've got mixer, which brings up audio. There's nothing on the timeline, but we'll have a play with that in a bit. And we've got the inspector. The inspector will show information on this clip, so we can crop in if we wanted to. We'll cover all of this as we're adding content to the actual timeline. You can view audio, there's effects as we drop stuff in, and we can cover things like transitions and that. The idea is that you can do all your cutting here and then just quick edit or quick export. So this is a location where you can actually edit much faster, much quicker than the traditional edit page. So now let's add a few clips to the timeline. I'm going to pick on this one because it's pizza. So we're going to use the pizza. If I play through this, I can choose my in point. So I could say, okay, as I'm playing, I want, there's two keys, I and O. I for in point, O for out point. So as I'm playing that, I can press I. That's the in point. And he's settling there. As he pulls out, that's going to be my out point. So now let's drop the clip onto the timeline. At the moment, you'll see we have no timeline itself set up. So if I drag this, it should just take the clip, the in and out. I let go. A couple of things have happened. Just that section which I told it between the in and out point has been dropped onto the timeline. You'll notice this pink bar here, which is a representation of the clip. The reason it's pink is because I pre-coded the clips with a color. I'll leave a link to that video how I did that. And you'll notice here now we have a timeline. So we've got this timeline. We're going to rename this food test. Food test. And that's this timeline. Now if I want to go back to clips, so you'll see the monitor is playing the clip on the timeline. I'm stopping and starting it with a space bar. If I move the top, I move very quickly through that clip. As I add more and more clips, this bar at the top will shrink because this upper timeline never gets any longer, never goes off the screen. It's a representation of everything within your timeline. And as a layer stack, you'll see it stack within this top timeline. The edit timeline at the bottom will zoom in to the clip. So I can zoom in and out of this. However, the top one, and this is great for efficiency. I can quickly move as I add clips. So let's find another one. So we have this. So again, I can manually pull this in. And you see, as I'm doing that, I have two views. The current view I'm on as I move through this pizza's clip, and the end one, what it's going to finish on. So if I want to change that, if I go to the right, I pull this in, you'll see the right hand's changing. So that's where it's going to end. You'll see there's a number of frames here. So I want, as he's starting to cut, or she, and we have a bit of cutting action. Now again, I could drag that in. The other option I've got is here. If we go, you'll see we got append. If I press append, it will now add that clip to the end of the timeline. So the last clip at the end of the timeline. Now we've got some content on the timeline. You'll notice this is pink, this is blue. We're going to have different colors as well. There's new interface options I've opened up, new buttons. We're going to cover that in the next video. If you found this video helpful, do give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. YouTube is recommending that you watch this video here.